PMacMovies back for another PMacMovies coffee talk video. It's not about movies. Click. So yesterday I made a video taking a look at kind of me talking about the Dollar Tree hauls and, you know, me having a certain perspective on what I said, somebody else having a perspective on what I said, a few other, you know, a few people getting offended, and a few people that just don't like me trying to make it a bigger, trying to take my words and put it in a certain direction that would, like, get people more angry about it or whatnot. Which is kind of a, I don't know, it is what it is, but before we get too much into what I'm going to talk about today, which I'm not even totally sure, I got a few ideas in my mind. I got the Ninja coffee maker over here. We're going to click. We got Guatemalan today. I think there might have been a little bit of Colombian in the grinder left from yesterday, so maybe it'll be a little mixed, but mostly Guatemalan. 2 tablespoons. Are you ready? Are you ready for the brew? The Ninja's taking a pee. Ninja, I think you might have some liver problems. That pee doesn't quite look normal. Anywho, I was thinking back to when the, this whole, you know, the situation that's been going on for over a year now. You can't really use certain words back in, you know, March, April. I put out some link videos, and I think on like the first one, I was actually trying to pull it back up, because I had, at some point I had turned the video to private, but apparently I lost all the comments on it or something, because the comments appeared to be gone, unless I was looking at the wrong video, but I don't think so, because it had a fair amount of views and no comments on there. So the comments all got deleted out. But I wanted to take a look at the comments, though, because it was like, when I made that video, there was a lot of people that had, like, opinions differing from the ones I shared links to. But it was like all people, not all, but mostly people that I had never heard from before or since. It was only that one video that I had ever heard from, and it wasn't just one, or it wasn't just two, it was several people talking about how they had, you know, they had family members, this and that, or, you know, they knew, and it was very, that to me is strange. These people are never commenting on any videos, and then all of a sudden I post a video on this particular topic and they're commenting. So are they people who just watch all my videos but never comment? Why would they choose to comment on that and not on any, like, the movie videos or my other opinion videos or my other coffee talks? And how would they find the video if they weren't from, you know, people who normally watch my videos? Because my channel is not pushed on YouTube, especially since I started sharing some of my different perspectives. When it was just about movies, my channel was continually rising because, you know, they'll put it in the suggestions thing and stuff like that. I just find a lot of things on the internet somewhat curious. So I also don't think that people realize how sophisticated the AI, the bots are, that they could totally pretend to be another person. Like, you don't necessarily know if who you're interacting with on there is a real person or not. You know, the AI, I believe, is much more complex than we actually thought. So were all those people who commented on that video, were they even real people? I'm not saying that they're not, but it makes me wonder. You're paranoid, PMac. Well, if you don't think bots, like, I mean, I think it's fairly common knowledge that bots do interact with people in message boards and stuff. And you think they're just like some dumb thing that just will say simple stuff. No, I don't think so. I think they're coming up with it. It's more complex than that. And that's not necessarily what I wanted to get into in this video, but it just makes me wonder, like, why these one video, these people commented and had strong opinions about something, never did before, never did since. It's strange to me. And I'm not saying that it's definitely something or definitely this or that, but it just makes me wonder what's going on with that. It doesn't seem to fit in. It doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. I think the coffee's ready over here. And today I'm just using I feel like when I use those metal mugs, it doesn't taste as good. And plus, I don't think things touching metal is based on some health stuff I've been listening to. It's not necessarily that great to use like a metal container. All right. Let's get some coffee out of here. My stomach's already feeling a little bit iffy though, so maybe coffee's not the greatest idea, but I like to drink coffee when I'm doing these coffee talks. We got a nearly full mug. But, you know, something that I did want to talk about, too, which kind of goes along with that, and opinions and different things like that. It's really, and I've talked about this before, so I might be getting, where I'm repeating things, but it's really interesting to me how some people just will not give an inch. And I think part of it, too, I don't know exactly what it is, but say with all, you know, the stuff that's been going on for over a year now, I have opinions on it based on my life experiences, based on things that I've seen, things that I've learned. And if you talk to very, very few people about it, if you like share your beliefs with them, very few people will ask you questions like, well, why do you see it that way? That seems pretty extreme, or that doesn't seem right. Like that's you know, that's not what doctors think, or that's not what scientists think, or that's not the, you know, but they're not like open-minded about, well, that doesn't sound right to me, but why do you think that? And then ask questions about it. A lot of people, you know, you bring up these outside-the-box beliefs with, you'll see them get very uncomfortable very quickly. Maybe they'll laugh at you. Maybe they'll just shut down. You know, maybe you'll get like the stare. Like they just don't. It's like I don't know what it is, but they shut down for some reason in some way, or get hostile, or start laughing at you, rather than when somebody comes to me with something that doesn't quite make sense. I wonder why. Well, that doesn't seem right, but why does that person think that? Like, they have, in their head, they have a reason for why they think it, even though it doesn't make sense to me. So I've always been that kind of person. At least as I've gotten older, probably even more so, but I feel like maybe when I was younger I wasn't. I don't know. I think to some degree I always was, but it's kind of opened up more. But if you don't question things, if you don't question your beliefs or your knowledge or whatever, if you don't question your beliefs, how are you ever really going to get knowledge? You never will, because you're just believing what you're told. And maybe what you're told is correct and you've seen it in the real world, but if you never question it, how would you necessarily know? You just believe it. So when people come to you with some sort of outside the box thought, or think, even if, you know, somebody came up to you and said, you know, I see demons, I see demons out there. What does it look like? You know, what is, when did you start seeing them? You know, why do you think you can see them and other people can't? Like, ask questions. But a lot of people will just be like, and I'm not saying that I'm just giving that as an example. I'm not saying, I have had people say things like that before. I've heard people say that they see angels, they see demons, stuff like that, but I'm not saying that I have. I have not. But some people would like laugh at them or be judgmental right away, or, you know, get, like, this person's crazy, this person's weird. Whereas to me, it's like, okay, this could be several things. The person could just be making it up. They could be crazy. There could really be something maybe that they see and I can't. Like, maybe there's something going on, but I have to ask questions to try to understand their viewpoint, their perspective, what's going on with them. So that's, it's just interesting to me how people like rebel right away. They don't try to understand other people. And when other people come at me and they're trying to like tell me stuff that's the mainstream perspective, like I already understand the thinking from that perspective. I used to have that perspective on things. I used to believe that illness passed a certain way, like most people do, well over 95% of people. But then I started living my life a different way to kind of test it out. If, like little germs or viruses and all this stuff make me sick. Well, if I stop living in a way to try to kill them, if I just kind of live a more natural lifestyle, not excessively washing my hands, very little actually, not worrying about being around people with flus and illnesses. And that was, and I'm not saying this is total proof for you, I'm saying for me, and then, you have to have your own life experiences. But I changed the way I lived, and this was in like 2012, because I was having some health issues myself, and I had already seen a lot of things within the system that didn't make. I wasn't into anything back then. I still had pretty much the normal perspective on things, and I started researching more about like cancer and things like that, and I just started to kind of question the mainstream narratives. I wasn't really totally into it yet, though. That doesn't taste very good. I wonder why. Maybe it definitely needs more sugar. It's weird how I make it the same, I feel like, but apparently not. I feel like I make it the same every time, but anywho. So I had already started to question some things, and I'm not giving the whole story, but just focusing on this one aspect. And so I started to realize, as far as health and disease and illness, there's people who don't agree with the mainstream viewpoint. And from my own life experiences too, I worked at Walmart as a cashier for a while, at a super Walmart, and I worked in the electronics department dealing with people every day I worked. A couple years was full time, so I was constantly around people, and I never got any bad illnesses, touching money. I got a few maybe mild colds where I was like, it wasn't even like a full-blown cold. I would just feel a little bit crappy for a couple days and it would go away. But I really never got sick. And then, you start looking more into the terrain theory and things like that. It's just more complex than we're told it is. And it's hard to get into in this video. But basically what I'm saying is that I heard some different things, and then I kind of did it myself. I started living my life differently, not worrying about being around sick people, and it just, I could see, when I got sick, it was basically, if I like ate something that wasn't the healthiest, or I got a flu. I got a fever flu type thing there when we first moved into this house. But I had been eating bad. It was around Christmas time, and I'd been eating like a bunch of Christmas cookies and crap. And I got really, really sick, where I was in bed. I was throwing up all day. I just felt horrible. It was terrible, terrible, terrible. And I think I threw up like 8 times in that day. It was pretty brutal. But you got to kind of learn for yourself, and some people have the ability to do it, and some people can. And when I say it, oh, he thinks he's better than me. If you're never questioning anything that you are told or learn and think is true and think you see it, because of course people see a bunch of people within the same family getting ill, and they think it makes sense in why they're getting ill based on the mainstream theory. But it's more, again, I believe that it's much more complex than that, because you also have a lot of people around people that are ill that don't get sick. So it's not just everybody that's around those people get sick. Oh, well, it's because some are immune. And I understand all the mainstream stuff. You don't have to explain that to me. I'm telling you, there is more to it than that. There are people, and a lot, people that are never going to be on the TV screen. You have to seek them out. You have to be seeking these things out. They live a natural lifestyle, and they're very healthy, and they don't take any pharmaceuticals, and they don't wash their hands. And they're not sick, like, ever. And people just think this stuff is crazy and kooky and stuff, but if you don't ask questions, how can you ever know? If you don't find people who have different points of view, have lived life differently than you, have different perspectives than you, and you don't ask them questions, and you just laugh at them and put them down and this and that, and build that barrier so they're never going to get in at all, and how are you ever going to learn anything? It's just, and if you take a look at the system, there's so many people that have health issues. People's health just keeps getting worse and worse overall. And it's the rates of cancer. Now what they'll say is, oh, people live longer than ever, this and that. Based on what? I mean, based on what? Oh, we have a documentation. Who came up with the documentation? All the information is controlled by the same entities. You got governments, you got corporations. Governments are all corporations too, really, if you look into it. How could they control all that? Well, you control things by everybody having only a small piece of knowledge, and it's like a triangular, it's like a pyramid structure, and the people up top are passing down what they want down here. So all the people down here just have a little small, tiny part, so they're not putting all the pieces together. It's like if you go to a foot doctor, or you go to a very specialized doctor, well, the whole body works together. So that foot doctor may give you a medication for your foot, or medication. You go to a gastrointestinal doctor, they give you something for that, and then it messes up something else. You got to take the whole body into account. You can't just focus on, you can just focus on one organ, but then, you're going to end up a lot of times messing up other things because you're not taking the whole body's processes into account. There's a lot to it. Oh, I disagree, PMac. I disagree. People want to argue. There's nothing to argue about. The main point of this is not that you see things the way somebody else, like you don't necessarily agree with somebody about stuff, but you at least try to understand why they would think such kooky, crazy thoughts, or such different perspectives. It's like, we have different religions. You got Christianity, you got Buddhism, you got Judaism, you got Muslims, you got all these different religions. And if somebody's different than you, do you ask questions? Do you look into it? Are you the type of person that wants to learn about it, look into it? Are you just the type of person that wants to put them down, like, oh, those people are this and that? The system does that too. They really like to put you in groups. So there's so many different, what we would term conspiracy theories. So many of, probably 99% of them are total BS. But what they do is, the system generates the groups. The system generates what you see on the normal, mainstream stuff, including Fox, CNN, and all that. They control all that. But then the other side too, I guess they're kind of putting two sides into those now too. So you got like the Trump, and then if you're into this conspiracy stuff, oh, you're a Trump, supporter. No, it's much deeper than that. They control both sides. This is what people don't get. Both sides are controlled. So you got like Alex Jones and Trump, and so people will, if you're into these theories, oh, you are an Alex Jones person or you're a Trump person. No, they're on the mainstream conspiracy perspective. They're leading people astray. They want you to associate that group with anybody who thinks outside the box about anything. They want you to think that anybody who is outside the box, oh, QAnon, this and that, that's all BS. It's all put out there on purpose so that the people from the mainstream, liberal perspective see anybody who questions anything is just one of these, Trump people, Fox News people. That is mind control. That is not real. There are so many people who are against what's going on, against this mainstream stuff, that are also, see that Trump is BS too, and Alex Jones is BS too, and that stuff is just all put out there to get you to group everybody in that group. That is the whole point of it. But people are so easily manipulated. Whoa, you think that weird stuff? Well, they equate that on the TV. It's like these Trump people thought something like that. So you're one of them. And it's so easy to manipulate people's minds, and they don't even realize that it's happening. You believe that, you're in this group. Or you believe something against what we think, you're in this group. Well, that group was created by the same entity that created the liberal type of perspective. It's just, but a lot of people just can't see it. They just can't see it. I mean, an easier thing to take a look at would be like race. Interacted with all sorts of different races in the prison system, at work, at overseas. There's good people and there's bad people of everyone. It doesn't matter what you look like. There's good and there's bad people. So you can't just lump everybody into the same category. Just well, they look like that, so let's put them in this category. And most people understand that part. But then those same people who will be like against racism, they're totally fine with classifying you as a crazy conspiracy theorist. They're fine with that. They can't realize that it's basically the same thing. They're just labeling you and putting you into a category. It's not just about looks. It's about you have these beliefs, you're one of these people. So everybody in that category has the same crazy beliefs. People it's like they can't think beyond this programming that they're given through the TV and the internet. Unbelievable. Anywho, maybe I'm drinking too much coffee. It's kind of a big mug of coffee. Yeah, I didn't come on here like really having a plan of action in mind, but I guess that last part is you can't just fit people into a group. I mean, you can, but those groups are like, they're formed for you to do that. So, oh, that person's just one of them. They're just one of them. And that could be based on one belief that the person has, one perspective. Okay? So say there's 3 groups. Well, maybe there's not. Maybe when you take a look at these conspiracy people, maybe within that conspiracy section, first of all, everybody's their own individual. So take that conspiracy section, maybe there's 100 different groups within that, with different types of thinking. Maybe there's 1,000 type of groups within that section. There's not just 1 or 2 within that. These are conspiracy people. Well, maybe there's thousands and thousands of people with their own individual beliefs. And then you can wind that 1,000 and 1,000 down into, fit them into little prettier categories, into like 100 different groups. But to them, it's just like, this person's just this or that, this or that, this or that or that. No, it's not that simple. But I don't know. Hopefully that's getting across to people. It's like, oh, that person. See, that person on TV was violent because they thought this. So everybody who thinks that is a crazy, violent lunatic, and people will believe it because they don't even see that they're programmed to believe it. Just, this person killed 10 people because they had this belief. And then they focus on the belief and how that belief is dangerous because that person did that. So everybody with that belief is a crazy murderer. And people really believe it. And that thing that they present on the news or that happened, how do you know that even happened? Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But a lot of times it's just to get you to think a person like that is a kooky nut job. And some people on here are going to see what I'm saying and some people aren't. It's like with I don't know how far I can, this thing, oh, you're selfish if you're not for that. You're selfish. Well, okay, so where did you get that idea? Who told you that? Who put that idea in your mind? Was it just in your mind because that's what you think? Or is that what's in your mind because you're told that over and over and over again? Well, maybe you need to talk to that individual person about why they don't think that's a good thing, or why they don't want to do that. Maybe there's more to it than just that they're a selfish asshole who doesn't care about anybody else. Maybe there's more to it. Maybe they think that it's bad for their health, and they think that doing that is harming other people also. What? It's in people's program, it's like they break down because it's against what they've been told over and over and over again. They have a breakdown. Whether you believe in that thing or not, if somebody doesn't, it does not mean that they don't because the reason that you're told on TV that they don't. Maybe they have a good reason for not wanting to do that. Maybe you need to ask them questions about why. And maybe it is, maybe their reason is the reason you think. Maybe they are a selfish asshole. But if you don't talk to them and ask them questions about it, how are you going to know? You don't know what that person's thinking. You don't know what that person's going through. You don't know if it's just because they're in this category or this category. And so, for some people, it is that way. I mean, I see people that are totally, these, for example, with the Fox News people, everything on there, they just go right with it. So those people are out there. But there's people that have different perspectives, and some of their ways of living or beliefs are similar to those people, but then it's not for the same reasons and all these things. But you don't know if you don't ask that person questions. And what happens is people get upset and they get agitated and they start freaking out because they form an identity with their beliefs. It's like there's a belief, there's an emotional response with it because it's their identity now. I believe in this, and if you believe differently, they're going to get emotionally upset at you because their identity has formed with that belief system. It's like, for example, there's people that are Christians that you could, ask them some questions, some things that, well, this doesn't totally make sense. Or this, well, I don't agree with that. And they'll stay calm and they'll talk to you about it. And then there's ones, well, if you ask them questions, you kind of doubt some of their beliefs, they'll get upset and agitated and very uncomfortable. They might get very uncomfortable. They might get angry at you. So there's some different psychological things going on there. They formed an identity with that beliefs, but also they don't really totally believe it, I think, is part of it. It could be various things because, I think a lot of people, a lot of people are similar in ways, but then there's these little differences too. So, you got to talk to that individual person and see what's up with them. Some people, you'll be able to talk to them about things and challenge their belief system, and they'll be able to stay calm, and maybe they'll even agree with you for a few points. Maybe I need to look into that. Those are the people that are more adaptable, more open-minded, more psychologically well, and they can have their beliefs doubted and not get like offended or emotionally agitated and all those things. I feel like most people, though, if you question their beliefs, and I feel this way because this is what I get. I've seen it a lot of times. I'm not just saying this, with no experience. I talk to a lot of people, and I do, I will challenge their beliefs at times in the proper situations. And you do get a lot of like this person obviously is very uncomfortable. They don't want to talk about this. That you get that a lot. For example, I think it was back in like June of last year, I was talking to somebody about some of my beliefs regarding, the situation that's been going on over a year, and she was very interested. She asked me questions. Well, your belief is much different than a lot of these other people, and she was kind of talking to me about it, and she said, when we talk again next time in a few weeks, I'll be interested to hear, what you've been looking into and stuff like that. A few weeks came, and she was totally different about it. It was really weird how she was asking questions, and then something happened where the next time I talked to this person, you could tell she just wanted to like avoid the subject. Like she was totally didn't really want to talk about it at all. It was very strange how like just a switch had been flipped. So, anywho, I'm just kind of throwing some different things out there. It's not about you got to believe what I believe. It's about if somebody sees things different than you, no matter what it is. Maybe it's about a spiritual thing. Maybe it's about something going on in the world. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's that. At least try to understand their perspective and where they're coming from. So I feel like I've probably been doing that more over the last over 10 years of my life now. I don't know how much I did before that. I think probably more than most younger people, so I kind of had it in me. But especially over the past 10, 15 years, just really trying to understand different thoughts, different perspectives, and questioning my own. And when you question yourself, you can really become confident in your knowledge base because you've questioned it, you've tested it, you've, I've seen different things, heard different things, experienced different things, and you get to a certain point. But a lot of people who want to put you down, laugh at you, call you crazy, they have no idea why you even think what you think. So how can they know? I mean, I think I'm starting to repeat myself, so that means it's time to end the video. But I'm really interested in what you guys think about what I talked about here. Hopefully it all made sense. I'm just kind of going with it, and I hope I get some feedback because it's kind of, these videos I've put, this is going to be about 40 minutes. So that's 40 minutes out of my morning. I could have been doing something else, like watching a movie or something around the house. So it's important to me to get that feedback and the comments and everything like that. And I do really appreciate all the comments I got from the video that I made yesterday about the Dollar Tree situation. And I will respond to all those comments in due time. Maybe it'll be today. Maybe later in the week. Maybe next week. I'm not sure. It just depends on how things go because me and Charmaine are both off this week, so we're probably going to be busy with stuff. But I might get to all the comments today. We'll see. But I do really appreciate all of the thumbs up and the comments, and that motivated me to make this video today, because if I got like 3 comments, I'm like, well, screw that. I'm not going to keep making these videos. Like, what's the point? Nobody gives a shit. But people, it got a positive reception yesterday, and that is directly what motivated me to make this video. So the more positive reception I get, the more comments, the more thumbs up, the views, and all that stuff, it's like, wow, people do care about this. So I'm going to keep making these. And then you'll see me not make videos for a while. A lot of times that's after I make a video and like I barely get any feedback or anything. So it's like, well, what's the point? It's not to make anybody feel bad or anything. It's just the way it is. I do have other things to do. So am I going to be more motivated to do this? Or am I going to be more motivated to do that? Well, I'm gonna go watch a movie and and spend that 40 minutes watching a movie rather than making this because nobody gives a shit. So thank you for giving a shit. And I appreciate it. And if you take a look in the description section, you can see other ways to help out PMacMovies. I do appreciate it. And like I said, it motivates me to keep making these videos. That's it. We'll see you guys next time on PMacMovies. PMacMovies.